from PRX.
All right, everybody, it's time to talk about tonight's sponsor, Helix Sleep. And if you listen to the show, you already know how important a good night's sleep is, right? How it sets you up to have a better day. But I can tell you what, like your mattress plays a big part in that, right? Being comfortable, having a mattress that fits how you sleep, your feel preferences, what positions you like to sleep in, especially with the changing of the seasons. That's what I love about my Helix. I took the Helix quiz. I got matched with the right mattress because I don't like to be hot. I don't like to be stuffy. I sleep on my side. I sleep on my stomach, and my current Helix is a huge upgrade from the mattress I was temporarily sleeping on. So think about what you're sleeping on now, and then take the Helix quiz. See what mattress you get matched with. You could take it at helixsleep.com/sleep. It'll match you with the perfect mattress based on your personal preferences and sleep needs. It makes buying a mattress easy, and that Helix mattress will be delivered right to your door with free shipping in the U.S. You can rest easy with seamless returns and exchanges. And the Happy with Helix guarantee offers a risk-free, customer-first experience designed to ensure you're completely satisfied with your new mattress. There's a 120-night sleep trial, and a study they ran found that 82% of those involved saw an increase in their deep sleep cycle while sleeping on a Helix mattress. So get over there. Go to helixsleep.com/sleep to see the latest offer for Sleep With Me listeners. That's helixsleep.com/sleep for current offers. Make sure you enter our show name after checkout so they know we sent you. helixsleep.com/sleep. Thanks, everybody. Friends beyond the binary, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's time for the only podcaster who gives you earworms about Elton John songs in a way you never thought was possible, because that's when I say, cut me gently, I'm an elbow, as I cut my elbows in a self-soothing way. And when I self-soothe me, this is not a joke, I could be here to soothe you. So cut me gently, that's what an elbow would sing. If there was an Elton John the Elbow, if there was a Sleep With Me program, there would be a skit where an elbow that was dressed, designed like Elton John in probably a duck suit, and the elbow would say, it would be a self-soothing segment, and the elbow would say, cut me gently, I'm an elbow. And if you just tuned in, you'd say, what am I? And I'd say, yep, you're in the right place. This is Sleep With Me, the podcast that puts you to sleep. And here's a couple of ways. When your hand hits that fridge tomorrow, these are the ways we're able to be here for you free twice a week. Everybody, it's Scoots. It's time to talk about my bedroom companion, Air Doctor. And I don't know if you're like me. I'm really sensitive to certain pollens, certain grasses. And spring and summer are particularly tough. And somehow all that stuff gets indoors, and I'm breathing it all day while I'm working, then all night while I'm sleeping, and then my nose is running and I'm sneezing all day long. But that's not a problem with my Air Doctor. I've got one in my bedroom. I've got one where I work from. So there's less sneezing. There's less dust. I sleep better. My days are better. Air Doctor's got a powerful 3-stage filtration which captures extremely small particles. So small, it's about 100 times smaller than what typical air purifiers can remove. And it captures everything: dust, pollen, mold spores, pet dander, smoke, and all those things you don't, that are contagious, and VOCs. It's whisper quiet, and it's got a great auto mode feature that ensures optimal air 24/7. It's easy filter change reminders, so there's no guesswork. In fact, as far as Air Doctor customers go, 93% noticed fewer allergy symptoms, including less congestion, stuffy noses, and itchy eyes. They've got a great deal. Head to airdoctorpro.com and use the promo code SLEEP to get $250 off select Air Doctor air purifiers, including the 3500, 4000, and 5500 models. Plus, you'll receive a free 3-year warranty. That's an $84 value, and Air Doctor's 30-day money-back guarantee. This is an exclusive podcast-only offer, and that's available now at airdoctorpro.com. That's AIRDOC TORPRO.com, and use that promo code SLEEP, SLEEP. Thanks, everybody. All right, everybody, it's time to talk about tonight's sponsor, ZocDoc. And we all know that finding a primary care physician or doctor for something specific really does feel like finding a diamond in the rough. You want someone in-network that's nearby. They have open time slots, but that's just a start, right? We all deserve someone who's going to really listen to us, make us feel comfortable and heard, explain things clearly. Maybe even remember, by the way, maybe have some adult lollipops. I'm just saying. Or they take the time to make you laugh. And here's the thing. I'm so happy that we work with ZocDoc now because I have new insurance. So you got to check out ZocDoc. ZocDoc is a free app and website that helps you find and book high-quality in-network doctors so you can find someone you love. And we're talking about booking in-network appointments with more than 150,000 providers across all 50 states. Whether you're looking for dermatology, dentistry, primary care, eye care, or any of the other 200-plus specialties offered on ZocDoc, you can easily search by specialty or symptom to build the care team that's right for you. You want to see a doctor in person? Great. Prefer a video visit? That's fine too. You can view thousands of verified patient reviews to give you a real sense of who your doctor is. As a matter of fact, just this morning, someone recommended a doctor to me, and I looked them up on ZocDoc, and I have the reviews set aside to read through them and see, hey, is this going to be a good fit for me? In the app, you could see the doctor's real-time availability. You could click to book instantly. You don't have to play phone tag. There's no waiting around. And those are a couple ways I actually use ZocDoc. I hear from listeners when they move, when they get new insurance. So you got to use it too. So stop putting off those doctor's appointments and go to ZocDoc.com/sleep. to find and instantly book a doctor you love today. That's ZocDoc.com/sleep. ZocDoc.com/sleep. Thanks, ZocDoc, for sponsoring this message. Hey, everybody, this is Scoots, and this is a quick, very, very important message. I'm trying to say it as clear and as energetically as possible. If you fall asleep fast, like you're going to fall asleep in the next 5 or 10 minutes, I really need your attention right now. Because if you fall asleep before the intro is over, like you get in bed, you start the show, and something just is able to help you drift off. I don't know what it is either about the podcast that does it for you, but it sounds like it does it. Maybe it's permission to not try to fall asleep. Maybe it's permission to let go of something. Thoughts, feelings, physical sensations. Maybe it's just knowing your boyfriend's there for you. But here's the thing. If you fall asleep fast, the podcast works for you a little too well because there is no way for us to support the show and keep it coming out for Fall Asleep Fast listeners, because the sponsors don't cover it, and most Fall Asleep Fast listeners never hear the messages for support either. So that means if you're listening to me right now and you fall asleep fast, and you rely on this podcast, you'd miss falling asleep fast to it if it was gone. We really do need your support. 2 ways. Surprised by Scoot spreading the word about the show, or supporting the podcast directly. And if you've heard me asking over and over again, you said, yeah, I'm going to support the show, but I keep falling asleep so fast. I need you to make the connection that supporting the show right now, tonight, when you're the only person hearing me and paying attention that falls asleep fast, that's a fact. You are the only person paying attention to me right now. So you supporting the show tonight by spreading the word about the podcast or by supporting it directly will make all the difference. But I need you to do it tonight because the show is so effective. It's in a really tough spot right now. And if the show works that well for you, isn't it worth paying for? Isn't it worth the good feeling that you could count on the show and you know it'll be there? Like something you could really feel good about because it matters to you, right? And if that's the fact for you, and you can, go to sleepwithmepodcast.com/plus, sign up and support the show tonight at sleepwithmepodcast.com/plus. Oh, Mystery Bart, a lot of people help out on the show. Who are they?
Chris Posty Poster Son sounds like an earful. Wrote the theme song. Edits episodes. Carl W. the Legend. Also edits episodes. Ashley, Kenny, Scotty, Jennifer. Runner. Eric and the team at Astound are on the website. I am the Mystery Bart. I do the lullabies, yeah. I do commissions at jonathanmann.net. I'll write a song for you. Any reason at all. You can tell me the story and I'll make it perfect. kindness shine straight on through when the listeners form their own Facebook group. Keith, Stacy, Sarah, Julie, and Jennifer. These are your moderators. You can support Dear Scooter on Patreon. Buy the merch and support the sponsors. You can find anything you want at sleepwithmepodcast.com. And we're so proud that we could dance. Rusty Biscuit, Lois, Anna like banana. Leah does the transcripts.
Thanks, Mystery Bard. And if you listen to Sleep With Me all night long, you fall asleep faster in the intro. You listen 5, 6, 7 episodes a week. You've been listening over 3 years. You know, we designed Sleep With Me Plus with listeners like that in mind. There's versions of the podcast built specifically for those styles of listening on Sleep With Me Plus. Ad-free full episodes, story-only episodes, audiobook-style compilations, all intro episodes. And you can get all that at sleepwithmepodcast.com/plus. Then you can fall asleep faster, listen all night long. And not only do you get the peace of mind from the show, you get the peace of mind. The podcast will be there for you and for everybody else that needs it. And you could sign up and check it out with a 7-day free trial. You can get it free by being surprised by Scoots. And when I say this next part, you'll know because it's because of your support. So what do you say? Because of your support, we get on with the show. Hey, are you up all night tossing, turning, mind racing, trouble getting to sleep, trouble staying asleep? Well, welcome. This is Sleep With Me, the podcast that puts you to sleep. We do it with a bedtime story. All you need to do is get in bed, turn out the lights, and press play. I'm going to do the rest. What I'm going to attempt to do, just get in bed, turn out the lights, and press play. I'm going to do the rest. What I'm going to attempt to do is create a safe place where you could set aside whatever is keeping you awake, whether it's thoughts or feelings that are on, like thoughts about the past, the present, the future, feelings related to the thoughts, or just that are there, physical sensations, changes in time or temperature, or routine, things going on, are there any metaphors relating washing machine cycles to the cycles of life? Is there a cycle called the turbulent cycle? I mean, that's what it's like. It's really turbulent. Here's one thing I know. I've never been, I've talked to my laundry before. They say, do you realize how turbulent it is in here? I say, yeah, that's how you get clean, though. We say metaphorically, I'm going to wash that dirt right out of my clothes. But what we really mean is it's like you're dancing in water. Don't look at it as turbulence. Look at it as empowered dancing. The washing machine is empowering you to dance that dirt right out of you. I'm sorry, did my laundry just hang up on me? Oh boy. Hey everybody, sorry. So whatever is keeping you awake, it could be laundry. That's not a joke. It keeps me awake. Because that's why it hung up, because it said, I'll see you later, because I'll be in a pile that went from folded to non-folded, but never got put away, right across from your bed to remind you of your humanity. My laundry, trying to keep me humble, but probably driving some sort of unhealthy ego thing since ever, always. Laundry. This year, maybe I'll send you Valentine's. It'll say always and forever. Yours. One day, I don't know. If I send you, somebody remind me, if you're hearing this, to send my laundry to a Valentine for my laundry. Never mind. That'll be what tonight's episode will be about. I can still get this out for Valentine's Day. Okay, so if you're new, you may be confused already, because whatever is keeping you awake, I'm here to take your mind off of it and keep you company while you fall asleep. The way I'm going to do that is by sending my voice across the deep, dark night. I'm going to use lulling, soothing, creaky, dulcet tones, pointless meanders, superfluous tangents, which you just kind of witness there. I go off topic. I get mixed up. The podcast almost feels like it's never going anywhere. Just like the laundry it says, that's welcome to my world. I see, but you go a lot of places. some of it. Like in 2020, I don't know about you, into 2021, I definitely pared down like I said, well, I just washed those clothes, might as well wear them again. No, like, so some of my clothes say, yeah, you're right. Okay, so I have to also include some apology letters. I guess tonight's episode could be me picking out Valentines for different pieces of clothing. Well, this will be good. It could be a little personal essay, too. Anyway, so there's another tangent within a tangent. But all that stuff is to take your mind off of stuff and keep you company so you can fall asleep. A few things to know if you're new. One, this podcast is very different. It is an acquired taste, but that doesn't mean you can't acquire a taste for it. And if you don't, that doesn't mean there's anything wrong. It just means you say, well, that's not for me, or that's not for me right now. Hundreds of thousands of people have said it took 2 or 3 tries to get used to the show, and now I listen every night. And some of those people have said, well, at the time 3 years ago, I loathed you. This is a comment. You might be laughing or thinking, Scoots, you're kidding. I get this email every other week or a review or something. They say, I loathed you strongly. But no one's ever said I have a light loathing for you, but really maybe they did, because then they said, then 3 years later, I said, well, let me give that show a shot again. So many people like it. And now I listen every night. But there's people, it might be you, it doesn't work. But give it a few tries and just see how it goes. The show's free. Also, after a few tries, you can go to sleepwithmepodcast.com/no thank you. There's tons of other sleepy stuff there. Sleep podcasts and other audio you could kind of use to fall asleep. So those are some options. But give it a few tries, because if you're skeptical, if you're like me and you're full of skepticism, overflowing, and someone recommended the show or you heard about it or you found it on a search, you'd say, what is this? A grown man's going to talk in a creaky dulcet tones and never get to the point, and that's going to put me to sleep, but it's supposed to be a bedtime story, but the bedtime story never gets started till 1/3 of the way through the show. And even then, I'm not sure it's going to be him picking out Valentines for his laundry or clothes, I guess you'd say. When is it like... That's another thing. What's the difference between laundry and clothes? Laundry, like I'm doing laundry. Is doing the verb, or is laundry what's the subject and what's the verb? There's a game show that would get canceled that I would start. I'd say, what's the subject? What's the verb? Welcome. I guess it would work if Sleep With Me had a show, though. We'd follow up that Elton John cut my elbows thing with, and I guess I was raised by Muppets in the Sesame Street. Thank goodness I was. Okay, where was I, though? Nowhere. Right where I needed to be. So give the show a few tries, just see how it goes, because if you tried other stuff and you're tired and stuff, yeah. And that goes into my next point, the most important point I'll ever make at all. And the one I try to be the clearest about is you deserve a good night's sleep. You deserve a safe place where you can unwind, get comfortable, and drift off. And a bedtime without dread or rigmarole or all those churning feelings that I feel sometimes. So if I can help provide that for you, that is very important for me. And if I can help provide that for you or point you in the right direction, and so you can build from there, and your life can become more manageable as you get the sleep you need and you get that habit in place. And again, only works for me 60% of the time, what I'll talk about here. Maybe 70, maybe 80 sometimes. I mean, it works when it works. But if you could get the sleep you need and your life's better, that means the world that we all live in really is a better place to be in. And it would be important. Like, I know when I get a good night's sleep and my life's more manageable, or when it's unmanageable, I know how that feels. And I know how it feels not to be able to sleep. So that's why it's so important to me. And that's easy to brush off or have my internal critic is easy to put me down or whatever. So I know that the skepticism can even get stirred up there. But it doesn't change the fact that you do deserve a nice, safe place to unwind. And a bedtime that at least you can feel neutral about. So that's what I hope I can provide. This is also a podcast you don't listen to, which is a little bit different. It's just a grade above background noise. Like it's the kind of background noise you could listen to. So that's the difference. This is a podcast you don't need to, but you could. So if you can't sleep, there's a small percentage of listeners that are listening, or people that listen during the day that really need to listen, and I'm here for them. So if that's you, I'm here for you all the way to the end of the episode. I work hard on this show. But at the same time, I think that's what works. I'll be here whether you're listening to me or not. So you can kind of listen when you need to. Or maybe that's reassuring. Scoots is going to be there talking the whole time. Don't need to listen to him because he's kind of talking it's a podcast. I could listen to it again. Also, I don't put you to sleep, believe it or not. I'm here to keep you company. And because all that other stuff I said in the deep, dark night to take some of the edge off and just be here, your friend in the deep, dark night, your boar friend, your boar bae, your boar cuz, your boar sib, your boar bestie, your boar bud, and that you could listen to or not, talking, droning on and on and on to take your mind off of stuff. The other new things that can throw listeners off is the structure of the show. And it's very, very intentionally designed, but the show can be repurposed in other ways. So if you already repurposed the show, that's totally cool. I'm glad you found what works for you. But if you're new, let me lay it out how it works when you first get to the show and why the show's structured the way it is. It starts off with a greeting. Friends beyond the binary, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Then I usually say something silly. So the idea is you feel welcome in, you feel seen, and you know, the tone of the show is a little bit humor-like, humoresque, as they say, close to humor. Not humorless, humorish. Sleep With Me podcast. It's like nearly humor, like on one of those dials. It's just like when they say, this is your, they say, oh boy, this is how you find a mate dial. Pay 50 cents. And it says, doesn't quite get there. So that's, what was my point? The greeting. Oh yeah. So that's how the greeting is. Then there's support for the show because my goal is to have the podcast come out twice a week for free. And that's how we do it, patrons and sponsors. Then there's support for listeners. There's support for the community around the show. Then there's the intro of the podcast, which we were like maybe 10 minutes into now. And sometimes people can feel like that's part of the support of the show, but it's really support for listeners in a different sense. The intro is the twilight of the podcast and hopefully of your evening. The transition period, or for a lot of listeners, their wind down time. So for a lot of people who are listening, they're either in bed getting comfortable, or they're getting ready for bed, or they're doing some sort of other activity. And this is really what works for me. Like I said, 60, 70, 80% of the time, if I have some wind down time that I'm not trying to fall asleep, but I'm not doing anything else but meditating or journaling, or reading, or doodling, or foam rolling. That's all the stuff I do during my wind down. And I'm very particular about it. But you don't have to, hopefully you have a less rigorous one. But that's what the podcast can enable. And if you fall asleep, that's great. If you're one of the 2 or 3% of people that skip the intro, that's great too. Or if you're listening on Patreon and you like the story-only shows, that works. But for most people, it eases you into bedtime, like a landing strip for a plane or whatever. Then there's support then there's more sponsor stuff. That's just, again, free twice a week. Listeners who support the sponsors make that possible. Then there'll be our bedtime story. I thought it was going to be one thing, but that's a great thing about recording these shows and all our production time. I got flexibility. So I can record this in September and set it up for February when you're hearing this, I hope. And hopefully my laundry is listening now and they'll re-listen in February. So they'll say, finally, my clothes are on my side again. Didn't realize I had to go through, I should have realized I had to make amends to my clothes. So there's that. Oh, so that's a bedtime story. That's like 45, 50 minutes or so. Then there's the thank yous at the end of the show. So that's the structure of the show. That's why I make the show. And that's what to expect. The only other thing I can say is I'm glad you're here. I really appreciate you giving me time. I work really hard, and I yearn and I strive. I really hope I can help you fall asleep. And here's a couple of ways I'm able to do this for you free twice a week. If you remember tomorrow when you open your refrigerator, be great. Thanks. Hey, everybody, Scoot. This is Scoot. This Scoot's message goes out to you. If you already support the show on Sleep With Me Plus, you should not be hearing this message. And if you listen all night long or you fall asleep fast, these kind of messages may get in your way of the show. But if you already support the show, make sure all your Sleep With Me Plus feeds are set up in a podcast app. Because if you're hearing this, you're listening to the ad-supported version of the show, which is hosted in a different place than our Sleep With Me Plus content, which has no ads. You get those full ad-free episodes. You get ad-free story-only episodes. You get all the bonus episodes, Boar Friends and Boar Besties. You get those all-night audiobook-style compilations, postage super deluxe episodes, all intro episodes. So please take some time to set it up. All you need to do is go to sleepwithmepodcast.com/plus, log into your account, and add all the podcasts to your podcast app. If you need more help, reach out to our support team, support@supercast.com. And if ad-free full episodes or ad-free story-only episodes, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them sound like they'd fit your listening style better, try a 7-day trial. sleepwithmepodcast.com/plus or get surprised by Scoots. Thanks, everybody. Friends beyond the binary, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is the second time you get to hear me say that. Welcome, because this episode is constructed from an intro from the past and our Read With Me episodes here. It's a Frankie and Victor episode with our friend Frank and his, so I'm reading from the book Victor and Frankie, also known as a famous Mary Shelley novel. And this is a little bit different than episodes we've done with Sleep With Me, but we tested this out on Sleep With Me Plus. It was so popular, we wanted to bring it to everyone. So it's me reading through a book, also paraphrasing, making stuff sleepy, but it's not perfectly sleepy. I mean, just like everything else we make, you know. It exists within this world, but it's pretty chill. So I hope you enjoy it. And without further ado, more of Victor and Frankie. Thanks, everybody. Walton in continuation. August 26th. You've read this strange and terrific story, Margaret. And do you not feel your tingling of your tingles? Like even now, I can feel the goose bumpies on me, on my skinny skin. And sometimes when this dude was going on and on and on, he couldn't even keep going on and on and on. Other times his voice broken yet piercing, uttered with difficulty, the words so replete with his strong feelings. And ain't talking about his resilience, Margaret. You know, those feelings you could sense just beneath. His fine and lovely eyes were now lighted up with indignation, and then subdued to downcast, frowny frowns and quenched in infinite wretchedness. Sometimes he commanded his countenance and tones, and related the most wild things I'd ever heard, with a tranquil voice, suppressing every mark of agitation. Then, like a volcano bursting forth, his face would suddenly change to an expression, you know, where he would get a little bit haughty, you may say. And he would go on and on and on about this compost-based being. His tale is connected and told with the appearance of the simplest truth, yet I owe to you that the letters of Felix and Safie, which he showed to me, and the apparition of this compost-based being, which we saw from our ship, that brought me a greater conviction of the truth of his narrative than, you know, his rambling rambles, however earnest and connected they were. So a compost-based being, then, really exists. I cannot doubt it, yet I am lost in surprise and admiration. Sometimes I endeavored to gain from Frankenstein the particulars of the building of this compost-based being, but on this point he was impenetrable. I'm going to tell you my secrets, he said. Can't you see? Didn't you listen to anything I said at all? You seem to have senseless curiosity without a Frankenstein level of resilience, he would say, as he stumbled with his words. Do you have any idea where you're headed? Would you also create for yourself someone that creates a need for resilience? Peace, peace, learn my miseries and do not seek to increase your own. Frankenstein discovered I made notes concerning his history. He asked to see them. And oh boy, was that. He said, I think I'll edit your notes. And he corrected and augmented them in many places, but principally in giving the life and the spirit to the conversations he held with the compost-based being. So in the end, it was his own take on my take on his take. Since you preserved my narration, said he, I would not, I'd prefer that, a more perfect one should go down to posterity. And then I, sensed his need for fandom. And thus a week has passed away. Well, I've listened to the strangest tale that ever imagination formed. My thoughts and every feeling of my soul has been drunk up by the interest for my guest, which this tale and his own elevated and gentle manners had created. I wish to soothe him, yet can I counsel one so infinitely miserable, so destitute of every hope and consolation to live? Oh, no. The only joy that he can now know will be when he composes his feelings and he gets that invitation he's been awaiting, or it just comes without ascending, without an invitation at all across that rainbow bridge. Yet he seems to enjoy one comfort, the offspring of solitude and his wild tales. He believes that when in dreams he holds and converses with friends, and there they, tend to him, and he's constantly telling me about Clerval in his dreams, carrying his stuff. And somehow he derives from that communion and consolation, for his woes, or excitements to still the compost-based being, that they are not creations of his fancy, but they're, again, visitors, serving him in his dreams, inviting him in his dreams, paying him visits from remote regions of the world. Which is not that different if they are on another stage of existence. And this fate gives solemnity to his reveries that render them, to me, almost as imposing and interesting as truth. Our conversations are not always confined to his own history and woes. Every once in a while, he'll make a point of general literature. He's got unbounded knowledge, a quick and piercing apprehension. His eloquence is forcible and touching, nor can I hear him when he relates a pathetic incident or endeavor to move the passions of pity or love without tears. What a glorious creature he must have been in the days of his prosperity, when he was thus noble and godlike in his resilience. He seems to feel his own worth and the greatness of his fall. When younger, said he, I believed myself destined for some great enterprise. My feelings are profound, but I possessed a coolness of judgment that fitted for me illustrious achievements. This sentiment of the worth of my nature supported me when others would have been, this again is another explanation of my resilience. They would have been too down, but I deemed it worse than a mistake to throw away in useless grief those talents that might be useful to my fellow beings. when I reflected on the work I had completed, no less a one than the creation of a sensitive and rational heap of compost. I could not rank myself with the herd of common projectors, but this thought, which supported me in the commencement of my career, now only serves as an example of why one would need such resilience. All my speculations and hopes are as nothing, and like the archangel who inspired omnipotence, I must again inspire. There has to be, if you're the greatest or most resilient person in the world, there must be a reason for that, of course. My imagination was vivid, yet my powers of analysis and application were intense. By the union of these qualities, I conceived the idea and created something never created before. Even now, I cannot recollect without passion my reveries while the work was incomplete. I trod heaven in my thoughts, now exulting in my powers, now burning with the idea of their effects. From my infancy, I was imbued with high hopes and a lofty ambition, but oh, how I am sunk now. Oh, my friend, if you had once knew me as I once was, you would not recognize me in this state lying around. Even though it was portrayed many times in my tale, there was a time before where I did mostly lying around and telling my tale of woe. As a matter of fact, despondency rarely visited my heart. High destiny seemed to bear me on. These were my teen years, by the way, which I have not mentioned up until this point. Until again, I fell never again to rise. That's the heart of my resilience, I'd say. But must I now lose this admirable being? I've longed for a friend. I think this is what we both share. I've sought one who would sympathize with and love me. That's what a friend is. No one says a friend is a one-way, Friend Street is a one-way street. But behold, on these desert seas I've found such a one, you. But I fear I've gained him only to know his value and then get off his ship, possibly without paying you anything. The cost of my company, a gift to you enough. I'd like you to be the new Clerval and carry on with me forever. I thank you, Walton, he said, for your kind intentions towards such a wretch as I. But when you speak of new ties and fresh affections, think you that any can replace those who are gone? Could you ever be to me as Clerval was, or any woman other than Elizabeth, even where the affections are not strongly moved by any superior excellence? The companions of my childhood, maybe yours, I don't know, always possess a certain power over our minds which hardly any later friend can obtain. Could I call you Lesser Clerval? Like Val? Could I call you Val instead of Walton? Clar? Anyway, the old friends of mine, they knew my infantine dispositions, which, however they may be afterwards modified, are never eradicated, and they can judge of our actions with more certain conclusions as to the integrity of our motives. A sister, or brother, or sibling can never, unless indeed such symptoms have been shown early, think the person was not engaging in false dealing. When another friend, down the road, like you, Walton, unless you become Val, however strongly they may be attached, may, in spite of themselves, contemplate with me, not see the whole me, even when I repeatedly try to tell you how great I am and what I've been through. But I enjoyed friends dear not only through habit and association, but from their own merits. And wherever I am, the soothing voice of my Elizabeth and the conversation of Clerval will be ever whispered in my ear. They've moved on from me, but one feeling in such solitude can persuade me to persevere. If I were engaged in any high undertaking or design, something that would be extensive utility to my fellow beings, then I could probably rise to the task. It would have to be one of the greatest tasks ever given to anyone. I mean, after all I've done, But I don't know if that's my destiny. I still got to catch that compost-based being to whom I gave existence. Then my lot on earth will be fulfilled. My next letter to my sister read like this. Beloved sister, September 2nd. I write to you now. I don't even know. I barely can put it into writing. When will I see dear England again and the dearer friends that inhabit it? We got ice all around us, and I should have never got us into this. I mean, the brave people who work on this ship that I persuaded to be my companions look to me, but I have no way to convince them all is well. And it's not a great situation, but my courage and hopes do not desert me. Was that a slip of my dear sister? I don't know, though. I can't believe that I went along with any of this and brought any people in with it. And what, Margaret, will be the state of your mind reading my letter? Will you hear news afterwards that I, like all who cross Frankenstein's path, changed existences? Years will pass and you'll have visitings and you'll wonder, am I off on an adventure with Frankenstein, having fun? My beloved sister, I know you hope that to see me yet again. But don't worry, you have a husband and lovely children, and you yet may be happy. Heaven bless you and make you so. My unfortunate guest regards me with the tenderest compassion. He endeavors to fill me with hope and talks as if life were a possession which he valued. He reminds me often of how this is where resilience is formed. It's happened to other navigators who has attempted to go this way. He said, there's got to be a first time for you to somebody to make it through. And in spite of myself, he fills me with cheerful auguries. Even the sailors feel the power of his eloquence. When he speaks, they no longer despair. He rouses their energies, and while they hear in his voice, they believe the vast mountains around us are just hills that will vanish before the resolutions of him. These feelings, though, are transitory. Each day of expectation delayed fills people with frowny faces. And I'm sure they're very fed up, my dear sister. Same letter, sister. This is September 5th, though. The scene has just passed of such uncommon interest that, although it is highly probable these papers you might never read, I got to write it down. I cannot forbear recording it. We're surrounded by ice and ice sculptures and snow, and it's chilly here, and many people are fed up with me for going along with this guy. And it's a bit desolate. Frankenstein has gone back on a pattern he said and kind of never thought, where he just lays around. He does a lot of sleeping, but something still glimmers in his eyes. But he said he's so tired from staying resilient and, making speeches to all of us. So he's exhausted, but then he's suddenly roused to exertion when we need it. So we could use one more pair of hands here. And he says, okay, but now I got to lie back down. See, if you want carrots for dinner, somebody's got to peel the carrots. So we can't spoon the food into your mouth. But the spoon is so doth heavy. Sorry, sister, I'm delving into, anyway, I mentioned in my last letter, I said, the last piece of my diary, that I think the crew's fed up with me. And this morning, I sat watching the countenance of my friend, his eyes half closed, he was laying around, and about half dozen of the sailors knocked on the door, and they said, "Can we come in?" And they entered, and the leader addressed me. He told me that he and his companions had been chosen by the other sailors to come in deputation and to make to me a requisition which in justice I could not refuse. You know, we're sitting here on this ice waiting for his compost-based being, and they were wondering if the ice, what if the ice melts and... like we can start moving again. Would I continue helping out this guy, in this futile quest, or could I engage in a solemn promise that once we get moving, I would direct our course southward? This speech troubled me. I had not despaired, nor had yet conceived of the idea of returning if set free. Yet could I, in justice or even in possibility, refuse this demand? I hesitated before I answered, when Frankenstein, who had been at first silent, indeed appeared hardly to have the force to speak, or maybe he was pretending to be asleep, suddenly sat up. His eyes sparkled and his cheeks flushed with momentary vigor. Turning towards the men, he said, What do you mean? What do you mean? What? What do you demand of your captain? Maybe you all don't have the resilience I thought you possessed, so easily turned from your design. Sailors? Do you spell sailors Q-U-I-T-E-R-S's? Did you not call this a glorious expedition you signed up for with me? Are we all not friends, best friends? Do you not know the terms of our friendship? And wherefore was it glorious? Not because the way was smooth and placid as the southern sea, because it was filled with unpleasantries after unpleasantry. And with every new unpleasantry, your fortitude was to be called forth, your courage exhibited, because of the challenges I placed in your path on purpose to help all of you, and to show that you were brave enough to overcome them. That is the meaning besides within the word I've used over and over again. For this was it a glorious and an honorable undertaking that I chose to put myself through for the growth of all of you. You were hereafter to be hailed as the benefactors of every human in the world, legends, your names adored as belonging to brave people who took every step for honor and the benefit of all human beings. And now, behold, with the first imagination, the first chance to change your minds, it's not even here. The first real trial of your courage, you shrink away and are content to be handed down as people who had strength and not enough to endure a couple uncomfortable moments. Oh, dear. It's no wonder I sleep all day. Just a little chilly. Maybe we need to get you all home to your warm firesides. Why, that requires not this preparation. You need not have come thus far and talked to your captain to embarrass all of yourselves to the shame of a defeat merely to prove yourself unworthy. Be ye strong, or be you more than strong? Be steady to your purposes and firm as a rock. This ice is not made of such stuff as your hearts may be. It is mutable and cannot withstand you if you say that it shall not. Or would you prefer to return home disgraced, with that disgrace marked as furrows on your brows? Or, I mean, you could return as heroes who have fought and conquered and who know not what it is to turn their backs on the world in bravery and greatness, resilience and fortitude. Frankenstein spoke this with a voice so modulated to the different feelings expressed in his speech, with eye so full of lofty design and heroism, that can you wonder that these men were moved? They looked at one another and were unable to reply. I spoke. I told them to retire and consider what had been said, and that I would not lead them farther north if they strenuously desired the contrary, but I hoped that, with reflection, their courage would return. For who is not more courageous than those who would engage in a pointless operation based on the sweet words of a guy that lies around resting all day long? You didn't say that part out loud, though, sister. They retired, and I turned towards my friend, but he had to rest. He had made a speech, so he needed to rest, and I needed to clear to him or vol to him. How all this will end, I know not, but I had rather not return, like he said. I consider myself full of fortitude, and my purpose unfilled, but yet I fear that will be my fate. All the sailors, unsupported by ideas of glory and honor. Maybe they don't have the mind of this, my friend, and they can never willingly continue to endure. All right, dear sister, September 7th, the die is cast. I've consented to return if the ice melts. Thus are my hopes blasted by cowardice and indecision. I come back ignorant and disappointed. It requires more philosophy than I possess to bear this injustice with patience. September 12th, my dear sister, it is past. I am returning to England. I have lost my hopes of utility and glory. And where I thought I had a best friend, I have a best friend no more. That's how our tale started out. I thought I had a friend who needed me. But I will endeavor to detail these bitter circumstances to you, my dear sister. While I am wafted towards England and towards you, I will not despond. On September 9th, the ice began to move, and roarings were heard at a distance as it cleared up. And we waited. My attention was occupied. Instead of being on the ship, it was on my guest, who needed even more sleep and soup spooned into his mouth. He also needed me to sing to him and then correct my singing, read to him my writing so he could correct my writing, and also to play out plays for him. As sometimes I think I was being his dreams. He'd say to me, talk to me as Clerval. And then I would do that. And then later he would give me notes and say, no. Are you ready to go? Shall I grab all your things, Victor? So that went on and on and on. But I guess, they needed me on the ship because we were being pushed north. And then a breeze sprang from the west. And on around the 10th, 11th, the passage toward the south became perfectly free. And when the sailors saw this and that return home was apparently assured, a shout of tumultuous joy broke from them, loud and long continued. Victor was not happy about this at all. He woke from dozing and asked the cause of the tumult. What are they yelling about? Are they telling tales about me, singing songs? They've never sung songs about me. Is it time for them to sing Victor? They shout, I said, because they will soon return to England. What, do you really return then? I thought we were best friends and brave friends. How long have you been asleep for? Alas, yes, I cannot withstand their demands. I cannot unwillingly keep leading them on if they don't wish to. I must return. Okay, that's fine. Don't worry about me at all. I'm fine. I'll get up right now And, you may give up on your purpose. You may not have fortitude, but mine, because yours is just regular fortitude. Guess that's the difference between fortitude and resilience, or neither for all of you. Mine is assigned to me by heaven, so I can't just turn my back on it. I am weak, but surely those who assist me will endow me with sufficient strength, much stronger than all of you. Friendship. Saying this, he endeavored to spring from the bed, but the exertion was too great for him, and he fell back and said, "Oh, no, I must rest before I could be resilient." But it was long before he was restored. And I said I couldn't necessarily tell if he was sleeping or dozing or faking it, even though I wanted to believe he was resting and he was going to lift the ship up or whatever. After some time, he opened his eyes, but he was making noises and stuff. And he said, "Bring me a draught, and I need to be undisturbed." Within my forge, stuff about his skin, the iron of my, strength and all that stuff. In the meantime, I didn't even know what to say. So I said, okay, this guy, everybody said, forget about Victor, man. He's not your friend. Give up on the friendship in the direct and indirect ways. They said, do you realize it now, man? What are you going to do? Everybody tried to tell me. So I could only grieve what I thought was going to be my best friendship. I sat by his bed watching him. His eyes were closed. I thought that he slept. But then he called to me in a feeble voice, bidding me come closer, and said, "Alas, the strength I relied on is gone. I feel that the compost-based being will have victory. Think not, Walton, that I couldn't have gone and gotten him without all of your help. I guess I'm not going to be able to. Over the last few days, I've been occupied in examining my past conduct, and I don't find it blamable. In a fit of genius, enthusiastic genius, I created a rational being, compost-based being, who was bound towards him, to ensure, as far as was in my power, his happiness and well-being. That was supposedly my duty, but there was another still paramount to that, my duty to all the humans of the world. And that had greater claim to my attentions, because they do more stuff for me than the compost-based being ever did. Urged by this view, I made him promises, didn't keep those promises, totally on purpose, totally not made promises, in his opinion only, and I was right to do that. First, he asked me to create a companion for him, but he showed selfishness in that, and he just wanted stuff for him, not for me. And then he talked to all my friends and family and said to go to another realm without inviting me. Kind of like having a birthday party where I wasn't invited to. And then saying, it wasn't a birthday party for you. That happened once. That's why, is this where it all came from? They had a party on my birthday. I wasn't invited to the party. And I said, you didn't invite me to my birthday party. And they said, no, this is a separate party, unrelated. When's your birthday? I guess that was a dream I had. I said, today, the day of this party, I was not invited to. And they said, okay, well, you can't be here anyway. Go out on your boat or whatever, Victor. I said, Father Clerval, are you partying without me? Elizabeth, are you dancing and laughing? William, are those toys you're opening gifts? Is that cake you're blowing out candles on? That probably can be related to the compost-based being, doing those things. Those were the ones that were supposed to provide me with exquisite sensations, happiness, and wisdom. And I don't know where any of this ends. That miserable compost being. Can't believe he's still out there. That I couldn't find a crew courageous enough to help me. I was supposed to spread him around, but I failed. Failed to try. I should have picked another ship, I guess, to rescue me. But when actuated by selfish and weak motives, I said, maybe I was in a weak spot. I needed help from a friend. Imperfect motives I may have had. I asked you to be my friend and help me with my unfinished work. And I helped you to renew. I got to ask you again, really. But right now, I'm only induced by reason and virtue, not by selfishness, as I may or may not have been before. Can't you relate to that birthday party story? Does that work on you? But I can't ask you to renounce your country and your friends and your ship to fulfill this task. Now that you're all running home to England, I guess you will have a little chance of meeting with the compost being. I mean, maybe talking to him. But the consideration of these points and the well-balancing of what you may esteem your duties, I leave it to your best judgment, I guess, Walton. My judgment and ideas are already disturbed by that dream about a birthday party I wasn't invited to and many other disappointments. I dare not ask you to do what I think right, for I may still be misled by passion. That compost-based being should be around to be an instrument of mischief out there in the world. What if he's going to keep doing that? What if that dream was real? He's going around planning parties for people on their birthdays they're not invited to, making the party so good people forget about the person who wasn't invited, that it even is their birthday. That's what that compost-based being's going to be doing in the world while you and your crew run home, at the very least. But don't worry, soon I'll be rewarded. My greatness is about to be recognized. Momentarily, I expect my release, my invitation. Like I said, a higher calling will be calling and celebrating my fortitude and resilience. And it'll be a happy one. The only happy one I've enjoyed for several years. The family and friends that did many things without me. Maybe I'll have my own party in another realm, in a heavenly realm that they're not invited to. Well, farewell, Walton. I mean, I hope you seek happiness and tranquility. Probably best for you to avoid ambition and your crew, because even if it only be the apparent innocent one of distinguishing yourself in science and discoveries, probably none of you are capable, huh? Why do I say this? I mean, I've been let down, but I thought I was resilient. Maybe someone else could succeed where I have not. Maybe somebody's greater than me, if they would continue on like this. And Victor got quieter as he spoke, though, because his speeching would tire him out. And about a half an hour afterwards, he again attempted to speak, but wasn't able to. And but he was dreaming and smiling, Margaret. Margaret, what comment can I make on the untimely, that my friend, it was like he was so soundly asleep, and I still wanted to talk to him. I was hoping he would encourage me. What can I say that will enable you to understand the depth of my feelings? I mean, even writing this, Margaret, you may be thinking, what were you thinking, my dear brother? All that I can express here is just inadequate and feeble. And at the time, when he said, I prefer that you did everything and I'm going to rest, my tears flowed. My mind was overshadowed by a cloud of disappointment. Or maybe mine was the still waters reflecting the clouds of his disappointment in the sky. And, yeah, Margaret, as I journey towards England, I hope that I may find consolation there. But then I'm interrupted. What do these sounds portend? It's midnight. The breeze blows fairly, and on the watch on deck they hardly stir. But I hear the sound of a voice. It's kind of raspy, almost like dry leafy or wet leafy, I don't know. And it comes from the cabin where Victor is resting. And I'm sitting here writing a letter. I should go down and check it out. Good night, my dear sister. Goodness gravy, or as they say in the future, Holy Toledo, or Oshkosh, by gosh. What a scene has just taken place, my dear sister. I am dizzy with the remembrance of it. I hardly know whether I shall have the power to detail it, yet the tale which I've recorded would be incomplete without this final and wonderful development. I entered the cabin where Victor was resting, my admirable friend, with my friend was so resilient, but not by, having to be resilient because of fate. And when I walked in the room, sitting at his bedside was something I can, but because of the tale, I can find words to describe it, but I couldn't, even through Victor's tale, I couldn't have imagined it. The stature much bigger and different than I was different, like shaped like a person but rounded, and was like is sentient, anthropomorphized. I guess that was a part that mixed me up. Anthropomorphized, but also yet a heap of compost. And it's like nothing I'd ever seen before because, at our time we don't have Fraggle Rock, but it looks different than that with Fraggle Rock even now. As I send this across, as I or just imagine I never said that, dear sister. I don't know what that meant. It was a dream I had. A dream that I was down in Fraggle. Was I at Fraggle Rock or down in Fraggle Rock? This is for another day, my dear sister. And the compost seemed sad, whispering to Victor. Never did I behold a vision so earthen and maybe loamy. And I said, I'm not sure I like this. Now I know what Victor was talking. I may have said that out loud too. Now I know what Victor was talking about. I shut my eyes involuntarily and endeavored to recollect what were my duties regarding the compost-based being, because I had forgotten. My mind had gone blank. And I said, whoa, buddy, where are you headed? What's the hurry? And the compost-based being paused, one hand on the window, and looked back at me with wonder. Again turning towards Victor, he seemed to forget my presence, and every feature and gesture seemed instigated by some passion deep within. An invitation, he said. I never gave him an invitation, and now I feel bad. I purposely made sure his family did not invite him. I did do that, and now I see him resting and trying to make it, he's ready to go. He's going, but he's not invited. Oh, Victor, a generous and self-devoted being. I guess he wrote this for me? How's this on this paper? Oh, let me start again, ship person, as a compost being. I may have wrote this to honor his, to give him what he wished. Oh, Victor, generous and self-devoted being, what does it avail that I now ask thee to pardon me? I, who irretrievably wronged thee by making sure your whole family moved on without you. All thou that lovest thou the most, alas, I know you cannot answer me, and I know forgiveness I doth not deserve, but I do hence bow down at your side. In the compost space being, my sister, his voice was, it was real. It was, he was choked up, and my first impulses, which had suggested I should do what Victor said Victor was going to do that he never did, and then he told me I needed to do it. You know, his request, and spread the compost around. He said, should I be spreading this compost around? Those desires were suspended by a mixture of curiosity and compassion. I approached this tremendous being. I dared not raise my eyes to the face of the compost, since it was somewhat earthly. Earthly? I mean, even though it was made from the earth, you know what I'm saying, my dear sister? I guess you don't. I attempted to speak, but the words would not come across my lips. And the compost-based being continued to speak what I thought was incoherent self-reproaches. At length I gathered a resolution to address him in a pause of the tempest of his passion. Your repentance, I said, is now superfluous. If you had listened to the voice of conscience and heeded the strings of remorse before you had urged your unyielding jealousy of Victor to this extremity, Victor would either be here in his greatness or with everybody that desired his love. I think I was reading that correctly as Victor had left it for me to say. And do you dream, said the compost-based being? Do you think that I didn't have any feelings of remorse? He continued, pointing to Victor. Tell me how many real needs did Victor have for fortitude and resilience? Oh, not the 10,000th portion of the anguish that was mine, this whole tale. Yes, I was selfish, and yeah, I have a heart now full of remorse. I think of Clerval playing music in another realm without Victor, carrying bags for other people, being a best friend to someone else. You know, my heart was fashioned to be susceptible of love and sympathy, and when wretched by misery to vice, so it's not easy for me. Everybody just acts like all I am is compost. All I am is rotten leaves. That's all you could see. But yes, there are some rotting leaves within me, or on the outside too, I guess. You know, after I talked Clerval into leaving Switzerland for the next realm without Victor, I went to Switzerland, and I was a bit down. I felt guilty about it because I knew Victor needed him to need him. You know, Victor needed him, and Victor needed him to need him. So I pitied him, and I pitied, and then I pitied. I didn't exactly pity. I pitied. Then I pretended I was Victor pitying Clerval for being without Victor. And, you know, when I thought about that, and when I discovered that he, the author at once of my existence and of my unpleasant, journey, dared hope for happiness through people like Clerval, you know, that he accumulated, you know, his resilience was made me frown. He sought his own enjoying in feelings of passion and indulgence, you know, which I couldn't partake in. I wasn't going to be a part of it. Was I jealous of Clerval? This is what I'm saying. At different times I wondered, you know, that I was barred from Victor's heart, and I had impotent envy and bitter indignation, and that's what drove me to create a situation where I had to look at myself But then I thought about it out there on the ice, and I resolved that it should be accomplished anyway. And I knew I was preparing myself for something that by all means was incorrect. But this impulse I detested, yet I could not disobey it. And then I did it again and again. I said, hey, wouldn't you rather, I whispered to each of his family. I mean, Cloverville wasn't the first nor the last. In order to do that, I had to cast off all feeling and subdue all anguish. And I guess these acts became good to me. And trust me, if you see the people without Victor, you might wonder, have I not done good? But you would say, well, it's another realm. So I said, you're right. The means which we judge our actions here in this world, hence not apply. And so, yeah, maybe my logic is limited. But to me, these acts were good, and urged thus far, I had no choice but to adapt my nature to an element which I had willingly chosen. The completion of my design became an insatiable passion, and now it is ended. Or already, I guess, it looks like I was going to make a fake invitation for Victor and then tell him it was fake after he read it. Luckily, I hadn't been able to enact that. So I guess I feel guilty and disappointed at the same time because it's here in my leaf somewhere. And my sister, I was touched at first by the expressions of this being's misery. Yet when I called to mind what Victor had said of his powers of eloquence and persuasion, and when I again cast my eyes about my room, and then I thought about the fake invitation, my indignation was rekindled within me. Wretch, I said, it is well that you come here to whine over the desolation you have made. You sit there and you write invitations to the fake invitations, only to deliver them in falsehoods. You sit in the ruins of a party you never planned and lament the fall. Hypocritical fiend, if he whom you mourn was here, still would he be the object again of you delivering that fake invitation to join his family at a party or whatever. And he says they miss him so much. That's like so messed up, man. Like, so you're saying I can't even grasp the gravity of what you're saying. And it was all you moving pieces on a board, I believe, and not his actual family. I abhor that. Pieces you moved on a board. You lament only because you were unable to deliver the invitation and your power is thus withdrawn. Oh, no, said the compost-based being. Yet such an impression conveyed to you by what appears to be the purport of my actions. Yet I seek not a fellow feeling in my misery. No sympathy may I ever find. I get it. When I first sought it, it was the love of virtue, the feelings of happiness and affectation which with my whole being overflowed, that I wished to be participated. Did Victor tell you about that family? But now that virtue has become to me a shadow, and happiness and affection are turned into bitter and loathing despair, in what should I seek for sympathy? I am content to be by myself, and endure, and eventually decompose, or transfer my matter into another form of matter. Aren't we all just carbon-based beings anyway? I'm not sure. I am well satisfied, but this is not a positive satisfaction loaded within my memory. Believe it or not, once my fancy was soothed with dreams of virtue, of fame, and of enjoyment, once I falsely hoped to meet with beings who, pardoning my outward form, would love me for the excellent qualities which I was capable of unfolding. I was nourished with high thoughts of honor and devotion. But now, yeah, I've gone as low as one can go, except for, when I lay low as just a pile of leaves. No guilt, no mischief, no misery can be found comparable to mine. Whenever I run over the thing, the way if Victor's story is true, what does that say about me? I cannot believe that I am the same being whose thoughts were once filled with sublime and transcendent visions of the beauty and the majesty of goodness there in the forest. I lived in a little hovel outside and just to listen to people that's how I learned to speak, believe it or not. But even as it's so, I am just a fallen angel, like leaves falling from a tree. Yet even any sense of goodness, anyone that's on the wrong side of that I know of, they have friends and associates, even in their desolation. I, however, am alone. You call Victor your friend, and you seem to have a knowledge of me and Victor's resilience and fortitude. But in the detail which he gave you of them, he could not sum up the hours and months I endured, wasting in impotent passions. For a while, I made sure that, I set myself against him. It did not satisfy my own desires. They were forever ardent and craving. Still I desired love and fellowship, and I was still spurned. Was there no injustice in this? Am I to be thought only as a compost-based being that behaves in non-positive ways? When every human didn't want to hang out with me, even when I was nice to them? Why aren't you displeased at Felix, who told, I thought we were friends. He said, no, hit the road. Why do you not talk about everyone else at that cabin? Nay, these are virtuous and immaculate beings. I am the one. I'm the one to be spurned at and had about. I don't like thinking about that. You know what I mean? But it's true. I am a compost-based being, and I have talked to everybody in Victor's life. I guess you could say I talked. It wasn't tea that I spilled, but it was. I did talk about Victor when he wasn't there in a non-positive way. But it wasn't anything they did not know. I just made them more and more aware of it. And I guess that was wrong. I have devoted my Creator, the select specimen of all that is worthy of love and admiration, most resilient according to him, person among persons. I've pursued him till he was, well, I guess you still be able to make friends with you, even despite all my actions. And you claim to be his friend and you loathe me. But your loathing cannot equal that with which I regard myself. I look at my heart in which the imagination of all of this was conceived and long for the moment when my hands will be over my eyes, when imagination, I don't want, like it'll go away, right? And I'll just rest as leaves alone. Fear not that I shall be the instrument of future mischief. My work is nearly complete. Neither yours nor any other else's Clerval's will I try to talk out of hanging out with you. Nothing else needs to be done for me to accomplish except my own actions. And don't think it's going to take me a while. I'm going to hit the road, and I'm going to spread my compost around eventually. I'm going to seek the most northern extremity of the globe. And there, I'll be frozen compost. And then, but before I freeze, I think the winds up there will blow me around. So there will be, none of me to remain. because I'll be separate, I'll be the, not the sum of all parts. So I shall no longer feel these feelings which drive me, or the feelings I have with my heart that are unsatisfied and unquenched. Victor is headed to another realm, even though he's the one who called me into being. And when I head to another realm, the very remembrance of us both will speedily vanish. I won't see the sun or the stars or feel the winds on my cheeks. And while Victor had hoped to be considered the most resilient among people, I wonder, light, feeling, and sense will pass away, and in this condition must I find my happiness. Some years ago, when the images which with this world affords first opened upon me, I felt the cheering warmth of the summer and heard the rustling of the leaves and the warbling of birds. And these were all to me. They were everything. Makes me want to weep now. But it is also my consolation. But yeah, I guess when I look back at my actions, I do feel I guess I don't know what else to say other than farewell. I leave you, and in you, the last person I will ever behold until I, run solo. Farewell, Victor. If you would have caught up to me and backed up your words with actions, you would have been better satisfied than I have ever been. But it was not so. Thou didst seek me, and, to protect the world, so you say. And if yet in some mode unknown to me, thou hast not ceased to think of me, I don't think you would desire against me something greater than which I feel. Really, your actions couldn't have done it. It's already within. Blasted as thou wert, my agony was still superior to thine. For the bitter sting of remorse will not cease to rankle in me until I've spread, been windblown about the frozen plains. So job done, and even though you didn't do anything, dear Victor, soon I shall be gone, and what I now feel will no longer be felt. Soon these burning miseries will be extinct, and soon these leaves will be blown around, and then maybe made into something better. So maybe I shouldn't go to maybe the frozen tundra one day will be green. And it'll be I that's, whether it's carbon or nitrogen or whatever, maybe then I will triumphantly exult in the glory of being compost. The light of conflagration will fade away like the autumn sun into the winter, and I will sleep in peace, or maybe not, I don't know. Farewell, though. And with that, sister, the big compost beast being sprang from the cabin window. And as he said this, he hopped on the ice raft, which lay close to the vessel, and he was soon borne away by the waves and lost in the distance. And that, my dear sister, is the end of our tale. So I will rest as if this was just a dream. But now I'll always look upon compost. Here's the lesson, sister. Don't take any invitations from piles of compost. And, maybe moderation, even in resilience and fortitude, is the best for people like us, my dear sister. So I'll see you soon as I go to sleep, your dear brother. Good night.